Good morning and welcome to Darlene's Creative Studio. Today is day 20 of our Creative Journal Prompt Challenge, and we're going to be working with index cards today. I brought along a couple of index cards, and as you can see, I've taken some tea bags and I'm just going to tea stain a few of the index cards by dipping them in the tea and working with some tea stained index cards. And we're going to make a cute little folder using a file folder and some of my, let me just move the tea out of the way here. We're going to be using a file folder for the cover and one of these large book pages that I pulled out of the back of a large atlas. They're very large. I believe they are 14 inches by 10 inches, and this is a double page. So we're going to be working with this larger piece of paper, our index cards, and a file folder, and then we're going to be decorating it as well and distressing it. So let's get started. What I'm going to do is start with the large book page, and I'm going to choose a size, and I decided on a I wanted the cover to be 6 inches, about 6 inches by 4 inches approximately. So cutting this page in half would be 7 inches. So I think I decided I was going to go with, let me just see, I did mark down some sizes here. 5.5, so that my outer cover will be 6 and then the pages will be 5.5. So what I want to do first is cut this page in half or down height-wise to 5.5, and then we're going to fold it. So let me do that. Just have to move my tea out of the way here. So we're going to cut this page down to 5.5. So I now have my page at 5.5 and it goes across. So there's my 5.5. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the measurement of the page width, which is just a little over 10 inches, and I'm going to divide it into 3 approximately. And that'll be about 3 1/4 and 3 1/4 is 3.75. So 3 1/4 plus 2. So 3 3/8 is approximately where I want to fold these. So I'm just going to mark 3 3/8 there and there. Sorry, the laundry's on in the background here, so you're going to hear a whole bunch of noises. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in right to that line. So there's my first one, and I'm going to fold it again to my second one. So what I have now is a little accordion. It's going to go in and out. Actually, I want it to go this way. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and we can just use this fold as our measurement. So 3 3/8. And we're just getting the folds done. We're not worrying too much about how it's going to close. Okay, so then we want it to be an accordion style. So we're just going to make those folds go the way we want, like that. So you end up with a piece that will go like this. Then I'm going to take my file folder, and this is now 3 3/8 by 5.5. I want to make it 6 and 3 7/8. So I'm going to cut the file folder piece 3 7/8, and then I'm going to cut a piece that is 6 inches. So I will end up with 2 pieces that are, sorry, 3 3/4 by 6 inches. So when I put my book page on here, like this, and like that, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to be a little sandwich, and I'm going to attach the first page to this one and the last page to this one, and it'll be a little accordion book like this. But what I want to do first with this paper is I want to distress around all the edges of this book page, so that when I attach them to this, it will be distressed. And then I'm going to take my tea stained index cards and I'm going to apply them on top of these pages here to make a little accordion style book. And then we're going to work with that. We're going to decorate the cover and we're going to work on the index cards. I think I'm going to stencil them as well. So what I'm also going to do is take my corner rounder for these. And I'm going to round the corners of my cover. Just to make it look more like a journal card type thing. So we'll quickly round out those corners. Like that. And this one can round out very nicely, so I'll just get my scissors out and just cut that little piece off. There we go. So there's my cover with my corners rounded. So I'm going to go ahead and distress this. I'm going to take my index cards out of the tea. Let me grab that. So I've got my index cards in here, and I like to flip them over because the ones on the bottom get the darkest. So we're just going to flip those over, and I'm going to give them another minute or so in there, and then I'm going to take them out and I'm going to lay them out on a tray and let those dry. And once they're dry, I will come back and we will get started on putting it all together. So don't forget to distress your book page. If you want to distress the insides of your cover and the outside of your cover, do that as well. And then get your index cards prepared. You don't have to tea stain your index cards. I am just doing that for my project. And then we'll come back and we'll put it all together. I have gone ahead and added my card into my little booklet for day 20. And then on the back I put in create a pullout using a file folder cover, atlas book page for the fold out, tea stain index cards, distress ink, and stencils. So I'll move that out of the way. That one's done. And I've gone ahead and taken my distress ink and I've gone around the whole outside of both the front and back of the covers. And again, I have taken my fold out and opened it up. I've distressed all the edges of this and the folds on one side, and then I flipped it over and I've done the same on the other side. But I haven't distressed around this page because it's going to be glued in onto the card. But I have gone ahead and gone around all of the folds, and then just fold your fold the other way and make sure you get all of your edges distressed. I wanted to mention that this is a standard index card. This is a 5" by 3" standard index card that I am tea staining, and right now they're drying over in the kitchen. And then that's what I based my size of my paper on. I wanted to give myself a little bit of room around the index card once it's in there to place it on the paper. So once it's in there, it will be tea stained and it'll be sitting on the page like that. So what we're going to do is glue the pages of our book page onto the cover. And we want to make sure we get right to the edges. Alright, let go of my finger. And we're going to set that right in the center of this book page here, or the file folder cover, like that. Okay, then we're going to add glue to this side. And then what I'm going to do is put the cover on top and line the two covers up so that they're even. sure we get right to the edge. And then I'm going to take my cover and I'm going to line this up and make sure that they are even. So excuse my head while I just look into this. There we go. So again, my measurements are 3 by 5 index card, 3 3/4 by 5 1/2, I believe. Let me just double check. 5 1/2 by 3 3/4 was the size of the I folded the book page to. Like that. Hold on, I'm just gonna. Oops, that's stuck. Hold on. There go my ego. There we go. So that will now fold up like this, and we're going to add our index cards to the fronts of this, and then 4 to the back. Okay, so that's how that will work. And we're going to decorate the fronts and the backs and do something with the index cards, stenciling them and adding things to them as well. But that's going to be a little card that I'm going to make. And I'm going to create a little band that will go around this, so it will hold it closed, so that once it's, you can tuck it into a pocket, and then when you take it out, you'll pull the little band off as well. So we'll take a piece of the file folder that we have left over. I mean, we know that we want it to be 3 3/4 times 2, so 7 1/2, and a little bit more to overlap. So let's see how wide this will go. So this will go to 8. So let's cut a little strip off of this piece here and see if we can use that. You only want it to be about, how wide? Let's see. So I've cut a piece that is 1 1/2 inches wide, and it is about 8 1/2 inches long. And what we're going to be doing is creating a little band to go around this. So we're going to lay this down like that, and we're going to fold one end over and the other end over like that, and that will become our band. Going to glue this closed. Oh no, let's distress it first. Let's distress the edges. Get rid of that glue before I glue it to something. So we're going to distress our edges of our band, then we'll glue it together, and again we'll decorate it and add things to it as well. But that's what's going to hold our book closed. And you want to make sure that it's a little bit larger. If you're going to be adding paper or anything to the front of this card, you wanted to make sure it goes around it. So let's not glue it until we've got our front cover on there, in case we have to make it a little bit wider. But go ahead and distress your edges on the front part of it, like that. And I'm going to distress my edges like this on either side. So I've distressed the edges of that. Oh, I just stuck it in that black ink. And then we will glue it closed once we get this decorated, because like I say, if we add cardstock or something to the front of this, or a decoration, we want to make sure that it will close. But that's basically what we're going to be creating, is a little band that will go around this. And I'm going to be putting something on there to hopefully get rid of that black ink that I just smudged on there. Or just make a new band. Alright, so that's what we're going to be doing next. I'm just going to see how my index cards are doing, and we'll get started on the next step. I have gone and taken the index cards out of the oven and tried to flatten them as best I can. I sometimes just pull them through my hand and crease them like that. So that's what they look like when I pulled them out of the oven, and then I've just distressed the edges a little tiny bit to make them stand out a little bit more on that page. So there are our index cards, and we've got our little booklet. And we've got our little booklet here, all ready to go. I did recut the band. I didn't like that I got black ink on it, and I just cut it a little bit longer, so it's about 9.5 inches, and then I put it through my tag punch because it's a 1.5 inch wide punch. I put it in my tag punch to give it that little tag top, so that when I bend it around, it will have that little decoration on the top. So there is my new one that's a little bit longer, and I've made sure I give myself some room for when I decorate the cover. But there's our band that's going to go around the front of the book there. So I have these fussy cut pieces of, this is a book page from a book, and I was thinking of using these for my cover. On the cover there, and then on the back, just putting a smaller one there. Yeah, I've got different ones that I can play with. Maybe put that one on its side. Don't like that one too much. Just that one. Oh, that one's nice too. Maybe those two. And I haven't quite decided if I want to put a book page behind this. Maybe take one of my book pages and rip it and then put it on first, and then perhaps put the mushroom on top, and then we'll glue our index cards in. But I was playing with them, and I do have my stamps that I just got from Etsy, and I think I'm going to stamp them with the mushroom stamps as well, so that when they go in the book they will have the little mushroom stamps on them. So I'm just going to get the last of my index cards out of the oven. And I put some book pages in there, and just took my distressing page here and I sprinkled a little bit of water on it and just rubbed the book page on it to see if I could get a little bit of the distress ink off. And I just want to see how that turned out. So here are my book pages, and some of them I just rubbed across the ink pad, and the other ones I rubbed on that plastic piece of scrap paper there. So I'm just going to take my distresser and just rub a little bit more on there. Let's move it onto the page here. Get rid of that book page. And just do a little bit around the edges. See how that looks behind the mushroom images. Okay, so let's move our cards out of the way. So this will be our front cover here. Make sure the words are upside right. So we'll glue that on, and then we will take our mushroom picture, and I'm just going to glue that off to this side, and perhaps have the mushroom maybe the other way. There as well. Now I was going to add some fabric, take a piece of my muslin and add that to the back of the picture there, and then put my book page on, and then put my mushroom down. But I'm worried about our band, our belly band, sliding up and down. Now I can make it so that it opens and closes. I can put a little Velcro dot on there and it'll open and close rather than slide, and that might be better if we want to go ahead and add those little bits and pieces on. And I think I might do that because I like the look of the fabric behind it. And then we've got this guy as well. So let me see, I do have these two pieces cut. That piece. There's the second piece there. That can go on the back. And we're just going to distress the edges of our other book page here. And then we're going to glue all of this down. I'm going to stamp my cards before I put them in the book, just because it'll be a little bulky and I don't want to have them not stamped properly. Okay, so let's glue down the first little bit here. And that will be our fabric. And again, with fabric, I like to use the Fabri-Tac. So let's use that. And this little guy has got a clog there. There we go. So we're just going to add some Fabri-Tac here. Place our fabric down. Thank you, dear. Like that. Let's see if this would be better for the book page. I like this little nozzle because I can get right up to those edges that are ripped or torn funny. You can get right up to those edges to make sure that they lay down properly. You don't want to put a lot on, you just put a little covering. And let's get that guy on there. Like that. And then we'll add our mushroom cut out. And this was from a book that I had at home, and I brought the pages along with me to fussy cut on the drive down. So I had something to do in the car. There we go. So let's put this guy on. There. Okay, now let's do the back. Let's put our fabric on. And this is so much thicker, this Fabri-Tac. It's getting older and been opened a couple of times, so it's getting a little thicker. So let's place that down where we want it. And we go from the center out, and it just pushes the glue to the edges. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to go around the edges, make sure we get right up to those edges with our little pointy top. And then just fill in the middle. Let's put him down. And there goes our dryer. Sorry for the interruption. And we'll push him down, and then we'll quickly glue this mushroom on. Now he's got lots of little points, so we want to make sure we get most of those little points, or else they'll stick up. Oops. All right, and just around this little circle up here and around. Just glued my hand. All right, should be good. Let's get this guy in place. Right about there. And we'll roll him out. Okay, so there's our front and back covers. And then we're going to take our, let me just put my thingy in here. here. I'm having a heck of a time with that. It's getting hard. Then we're going to take our index cards, and I'm just going to find a flat surface that I can use for my stamping. And I'm using my Distress ink because I've already used that Distress ink already, so I'm just going to keep using that brown. And I'm just going to flip-flop from side to side and put some different stamps on here. Let's hope this large one fits on the card. Let's put him on this side. Oh, and that one fit, and that's nice. We got this little guy. Put him on there. Got this guy. There we go. And this one. Let's put him on. I love this one. This is my favorite one. Isn't he pretty? Let's use him again because we're going to need him again. So let's put him on this side. And there we go. This one. I think I might have too many cards here, but that's okay. And this one. There, and one more. Maybe that's more than I need, but put him right there. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Now we're going to take our book. So this is the front. And then I'm just going to go ahead and glue these cards in. Go around the outside first, make sure I've got the whole outside done. Get rid of that here. And then just fill them in. And set them on the page. That looks good there. And we're just going to roll that nice and flat. Make sure it's in there properly. Okay, let's do the next one. Want to make sure you get your corners down, and you're just going to keep working along and putting these cards in, and then you're going to flip it over, and there I believe there's 4 on the back as well, and then you'll see that it gets a little thicker once you start putting these cards in. That's why you didn't want to seal your band or work on your band right away, because it will change in thickness once you start putting these cards in. So let's put this guy here. And these would be nice to give as gifts for little recipes. You could write out some recipes on the cards and perhaps give them as gifts. Wrap a little band around it and put a little to and from tag on it, and just write out some of your favorite recipes and give them to guests and family. Okay, that was not going to work, so let's do that way. And let's do, what one can we do on that side? We already have that one. Let's do a nice big one. this guy on here. Make sure those corners get pushed down, and then we want one more. Let's put this on there. And I always do a couple of extras when I'm tea staining or stamping, only because stamping, you're never guaranteed you're going to get the perfect stamp. So it's always nice to have a couple of extras so that if you don't get a perfect image when you stamp, you have a couple of extra cards to play with. Okay, so there's that one. Let's close him up. And then on the other side, we have 4 more. So we can do that one, that one, that one, and that one there. And we'll put those all in. Slide that down a bit and put him on there. Okay, put him up. We're almost done here. Put this guy there. More. You want to try and keep them somewhat lined up, so when it's open you'll see that they're kind of lined up there. And this is the last one, and then we'll close it up and we'll wrap the band around. And I think I'm going to put something on the band. We can decorate the band a little bit, but other than that, let's just see where we are here. We'll place that guy there. Give it a quick roll. So there is our little trifold book. You can goes out this way, and you can turn it this way. Now, if you're going to insert it into a book, you don't have to decorate the back, because you'll glue that down into a book like that, and then you can just open it up this way, or open it up this way. So you do not have to put something on the back if you want to glue it into your book. Okay, and then we have our little band that will go around it. And again, because it's a little thicker, it will bend a little differently. Let's see. Like that. And you can decorate this with a stamp, or you can take one of your images and stamp it onto something and then put that on there. I think I might just see if that little stamp there might fit on there. Let's test it on something. Let's test it on my old piece here. This was 1.5 inches tall. Oh, and it'll just fit. So let's do that. Let's put him on right there, and I'll just get my stamp pad, my flat surface. Make sure we have lots of ink on there. There, and we have our little mushroom on the front. So that can now go on there like that. And you can put a little tie through this end here and then tie it around. A little piece of ribbon to go around it as well. But that's just a little book that I wanted to make using our index cards. That was our prompt for today, was revamping an index card. And I did tea stain them and then use some of my stamps. So there you go. There's day 20 done. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel and like the video if you liked it. Give it a thumbs up, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for following.